Hello, everybody, and welcome again to Truth or Trend, where we talk about whether or not what we're putting in our bodies is going to be something that's going to serve us long term, or if it's just a passing fad, or if it's just great marketing. We talk a lot about what we're eating. We talk about clean water. We talk about clean beauty. But today we have something even more important, I think, than we can express because it's not talked about nearly enough, and it's clean clothing and what you're wearing. And today we're really fortunate to have an excellent guest, a good friend of mine, and a good time, a man who's been arrested 18 times but never convicted. And he has this excellent TEDx talk on theories on breast cancer. This is Michael Drescher. Michael, when you first started looking into this stuff, what blew you away the most about it, that to invest so much of your life into this one aspect of clothing?
Well, thank you, and pleasure to be on. And you guys, it's just I think your format's amazing because so many people need to separate the marketing from the truth, right? Yeah, for me, it's been. We're not saying we're curing anything, but I've just had an extraordinary amount of breast cancer in my life some time ago. Lost people I've loved, and we all have. And so, really, it was that the 18 arrests, no convictions is true. However, the disclaimer is it's a spiritual comedy. And so that kind of gives it away. I'm a bit of a spiritual guy. And, it really came, first of all, just being introduced to the fact that we're electrical beings. Our heart, our brain, lymphatic system is electrical. In fact, this very picture is what got me. This is an Alex Gray painting that you can see at his Chapel of Mirrors, Alex Gray, the artist.
Wow.
And it has all the chakras, but it's really, we're electrical. We have that energy. And then think about that, how it calculates into your body. If your arm's in a sling or a leg in a cast, what happens? It atrophies pretty quickly. You need physical therapy. And then you start to look at the breast and this construction of the bra, which I can get into, which goes back and just the restriction of women, basically. And then, of course, like clean beauty, they banned 2,500 chemicals in Europe. We banned less than 15 of those now here. And many of them, if you're wearing a foam cup bra in America, that's gasoline, that's polyurethane, that foam, I can almost guarantee it.
Sure. Wow. I'm glad I'm not wearing them.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Well, Michael, you and I first connected on that electrical piece because I was doing the heart sound recording on you, and we talked about how when women have that underwire bra, they forget this is an electrical, pump and I've seen it more times than I can tell you, be the piece that stops them from experiencing the best health because of that underwire bra. And then you started telling me about these new designs that you're coming up with. So, I mean,
yeah,
I guess the first question I want to ask, right? Because this is where we're going to begin. And a lot of people need to know.
Can I take a quick deviation and tie the nutritional aspect into the lymphatic system?
Do it,
right?
yeah.
And the electrical system, right, is electricity is a mineral transfer. So we need to remember, to keep that lymphatic system flowing, we need hydration, right? We need activity, we need movement, which we're about to talk about blockage of some of that, but it's a mineral transfer. So if we're deficient in a lot of those minerals, then that's going to compromise that energy flow through the body as a whole. So we need those minerals, those organic vegetables, which is our prevention from cancer as a whole anyway, right? And then the toxic metals are going to corrupt that pathway, right? How good is a battery if they use the wrong mineral to make it, right? Or a toxin, if you will. So keeping the system clean, keeping things like aluminum, other toxins out of there, just again, to set the stage for where you're about to go with this.
Well, and there's Dr. V always trying to give us a solution to a problem. And I love that about him. We want to know what we can do. But, and we say this many times. So what people who are following us and listening to us are going, okay, I want to get all this nutrition and to rebuild this body. But if we have a house on fire, we don't want to rebuild it until we put the fire out. And if we're wearing something 12 to 14 hours a day that's pouring fuel on the fire, we're not going to get where we're trying to go. And this is why I'm so excited that Michael has this option for everybody that stops a lot of the fuel being poured on the fires, I think.
Yeah. It's very true. And thank you, doctor. That's so true. What's happening is that if you really look at it, the history, right? I've been to the Corset Museum in Heibach, Germany. It is a horror show. Okay. This is way back, 16-inch waist. They couldn't even loosen their corset till they were 7 months pregnant. The preponderance of miscarriages, so on and so forth. Then Coco Chanel came along, great Coco, Gabriella, and she freed women of the wire, the corset, everything. But Hollywood came back in the 40s, if you remember, with the sweater girls, with the projection of the breast. And of course, that was all dudes. It was like, hey, Larry, this is a good idea. And of course, modern culture, the Victoria's Secret, if you will, went with that, right? This kind of projection of the breast for the quote unquote male gaze, and the way the U-shaped cup, wants to portend that breast is kind of almost ornamental on the chest plate, when in fact, as you all know, that breast tissue comes all the way around the side of the torso. And so what's embedded in there too is that lymphatic system. So now you have this wire, this crushing from both sides. And again, 12 to 14 hours, a lot of women sleep in these. It's almost 24-hour. So it's a slow drip perhaps, right? It's that crushing of the lymphatic system. And then again, commercially here, most of the bras in America, they will have some type of formaldehyde, some type of finish. Typically, formaldehyde holds color on very inexpensive garments, and not only because it's published, but Lululemon was protested at the Paris Olympics. In fact, I will send you the picture, dressing their athletes in oil. And it's legal. They're not doing anything illegal, except that these fabrics are made with petro waste. And that's the most inexpensive way. They feel soft and clean, but they're loaded with, all kinds of dyes. There's no such color as black. You have to load that up in an inexpensive fabric to really hold that color so it doesn't wash out. Now, we go by the European standard, which is the OEKO 100, that tests the final product. So every stitch, every dye, every foam we have has been tested, final product, to be non-harmful.
Wow. Because all the people out here listening who wear these clothes and who love people who wear these clothes need to know that. And this is I don't think, again, it's been talked about enough. But if we're going to bring it back to one of the things that I think most people are concerned about, we kind of mentioned that this could be a major contributing factor to breast cancer. And how much of that is the piece of the puzzle that we really need to focus on, or is that just a bunch of hogwash?
No, I think, well, it's like anything else. I've sat in, we are recognized by the breast cancer prevention partners who actually created Clean Beauty for the campaign of Safe Cosmetics. We're a full partner with them. I'm speaking at one of the major galas for Komen in Susan Komen in April. I've been part of the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. And you sit in with the money that they've spent with researchers, and you realize, which I think you gentlemen would concur, that we all have a cancer score. And it's like you said, Dustin, we know about what we eat and what we drink and what we breathe. But yes, it's also can be this first layer. That's why there's a nicotine patch or a birth control. If it's on you, it's in you, right? And particularly on the intimates, these are the two most porous areas of the feminine form. And so, all of a sudden, that's kind of in many cases, it's 24 hours. 40% of women's undies, bottoms in America, have warning labels in them because they are flammable. And you can buy these at Nordstrom's. Okay, they're legal here. It's illegal in every other first world country, and we lead the world in vaginal cancers. Now, and when you have heat and moisture, it just accelerates the off-gassing or the transdermal absorption. And there's a lot of greenwashing going on out there. And in fact, I think you mentioned Dress to Kill. That book and something that happened with that book is the very center point of my TEDx.
Wow. Well, you had a soundbite in there. 40% of women's underwear comes with a warning label, and it's not for the reason you want that warning label under there. It is. I mean, that's crazy to think about, the fact that it's just dismissed and just overlooked. That
it's criminal. And in fact, it's interesting. Dress to Kill. That gentleman. He's a PhD, Dr. Sidney Singer. He calls himself, and he is a cultural anthropologist, and he and the Santa Fe Institute went to Bali, and they tested 2,500 women, modern women that wore typically an American brand bra, and 2,500 classic women that had never worn a bra, but they were of the same diet. And of the 2,500 modern women, the incidence of breast issues was equal to the highest in the world, basically United States. The incidence of breast issues in the women, classic women, was virtually zero. And also the hockey stick was, if you only wore it 6 hours a day, you were 25%, versus the woman that wore it 24. And if you wore it 12 hours, you were half as likely as the 24. It just followed. So you can breadcrumb this. Sure, we all know that person who's 98 and they say, well, I'm 98 because I smoke a pack of cigarettes and drink whiskey every day. And pretty much everybody else is dead when they're 35, but we're all a little bit different. The one thing I'll say about the TEDx, which I've picked up over 700,000 views this year.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's quite something, because we talk about greenwashing, and that's what a lot of these major labels do. They talk about it. They know the buzzwords. It's sustainable. We use third-party testing, but they never tell you who it is or what it was, right? And there was, when that book came out, the industry kind of, paid a lot of folks, including the Hutchinson Institute, which is a respected cancer institute in Ohio. And so if you Google bras and breast cancer, you're going to see a headline from Hutchinson saying there's no correlation between bras and breast cancer. And what I brought out in my TED Talk is that in their own disclaimer, it says, and I quote, because bra wearing was ubiquitous among the participants in our study, it was impossible to determine the risk between wearing a bra and not wearing a bra. So, it's another one of these, kind of flash headlines. So, yeah, that net, you have to be careful. If anybody wanted to say that they cure something, that's an FDA claim. We're not making that. It's just, would you rather be wearing a Maserati or a 57 Chevy with no muffler? Okay, because that's really what's happening with this off-gas.
Wow. So the off-gassing, now we've got everybody freaked out about what they've been wearing for the last 30, 40, 50 years.
Exactly.
Yes, of course. So we want to be able to give them options. We'll get to that, what they can do. But Dr. V, in the meantime, we're talking about formaldehyde. We're talking about these toxic chemicals. What are some of the first thoughts when you find somebody who has an exposure, a toxic exposure to those? What are you doing to help them to clear those chemicals out of their body to reduce that potential hazard?
For sure. I brought GI Adsorb as an example to bind a lot of that stuff up. That's going to bind them in the large intestine, toxic metals. And I grabbed that because I was taking one this morning. But to kind of make the point, the skin is an organ of elimination, but it's also an organ of absorption, right? The intestine is basically the same material as the skin is, and we're absorbing nutrients, hopefully, or toxins through the intestine. Skin is the same thing. That historically, a time that really made this profound or obvious was when progesterone cream became super popular. Remember, and that's when people really started realizing, oh, we're absorbing this. And progesterone cream, like so many other things, truths and trends, came and went because gals were lathering themselves in this progesterone cream, and pretty soon their progesterone levels were 5,000 times the level that it should be. But that really points to the fact that what we're putting in, ladies, your anti-aging creams, are usually estrogenic, so the creams and things that people are using, we have supplements, and we're looking at patches is one of the things we're looking at for another podcast. But These are all ways of absorbing nutrients into our body. So make sure you're absorbing healthy stuff. And as you said, formaldehyde is a fire retardant. So even our bedding often is going to have formaldehyde by law. People, if you're shopping for a mattress, for example, have one of us, right, chemically sensitive, and then you can special order a mattress or bedding that doesn't have that formaldehyde in it. Because then again, you're laying in it 8 hours a day, breathing it.
Right.
I'd like to potentially hear, how fast, I tell patients, if you get a mattress cover, that stuff, put it out in the sun, try to outgas it for a little bit before you sleep on it.
Yeah.
Michael, I'd like to hear your input on how fast we can get that out of. Does washing, say a traditional bra in hot water, how much does that help get rid of some of the things like the formaldehyde and so on?
Yeah, great question. I think yes, washing it is always advisable. Unfortunately, because it is so laden into the dye and also finishes. Um, Back to the head fake conversation, and I think at the core, right? Everyone, and it's a very good seal. It's called GOTS Cotton, which is a certified organic cotton, and many brands are talking about GOTS Cotton. The cotton is raw cotton. Okay, the raw cotton is organic, but that's not testing the final product. And
Mhm.
90% of the challenge that you're going to have on your skin is the dye and the finishes. They put a finish on because that dye is going to leach, and so they put a finish, and that finish is almost always incredibly harmful. If you're buying a real hemp shirt with a plant-based, as good as it gets, that black shirt will be gray within about 4 washings. Okay, but ours, anytime you want to have any kind of stretch or sturdy, you're going to have a little bit of synthetic, and so we are not. Nothing is non-toxic. The air we breathe is not non-toxic,
Right.
but to be certified clean. Okay, there's a great book that came out this year as well called "To Die For," DYE, Alden Wicker. I usually have one I can show, and in that book, I mean, she goes back to the history of how these colors were created and the whole process, and she says nothing's perfect, but the OEKO is the safest national seal that you should be looking for, and because we test that final product, and so to be non-harmful, you can wear ours without washing it. You can wash it a million times, but we also are a bra company, and this is important, and I do it in my TED talk, which was years ago. We're a bra company that says the best thing you can do is not wear a bra at all. Now, we understand that's not for everybody, but we're made to engage gravity. So no matter whose bra you wear, including ours, and ours is so comfortable you'll never want to take it off, but when you get home, take it off and don't sleep in it. Really allow your body. It's that arm in a sling, leg in a cast. Let that breast and it's an old wives' tale that without the bra, it's going to sag. It actually, I think the doctor will concur. There's some interior muscles up here that, like anything else, if you give that tissue, a chance to exercise, so to speak, it'll actually firm it up. We have women wearing our bra for quite some time that have noticed a natural lift, because they've been able to, their breasts are not strapped against their body.
Strengthen the muscles, huh?
Yeah.
And you have sports bras as well, it looks like here, right?
Yep.
You've got all kinds of active wear, even in the leggings too, because of course, like you said, you want to make sure that you're not getting exposed as you're sweating for sure. And first layer, tank tops, underwear, all of that. And
Yep.
and like you said, though, you said that the best thing is to not wear it at all, right?
Right. Well,
Second best thing is to make sure it's as clean as this, right? That's
to that point. Susie Cameron, James Cameron's wife, and a very accomplished producer, director on her own. She released a movie that's won awards all over the world called "Let Them Be Naked," and that's her. She talks a lot about sustainability, but in the movie, they take a Victoria's Secret bra and they off gas it at the Hohenstein lab in Germany. Hohenstein is who gives me my certification for the OEKO, and it tested at 3.5 to 4 times what they would consider to be a safe level of toxicity.
wow.
Okay, and this is the kind of danger that we're up against in a commercial, kind of outfit. And again, that is the movie, and that is Hohenstein. I'm just passing along that information. But yeah, the best thing you can do is allow your body to engage gravity.
Yeah. Well, now the Olympics used to be done naked, right? That's the way they used to do it. But am I allowed to share that there are
They might
Olympians
increase
now
ratings.
wearing your vibrant underwear?
Yeah, I do believe Mia yesterday, who won she took home the bronze, the first woman to ever medal in the mass start skating. She's a big fan of our product. She said she loves wearing it under there. It's not like a skier. You're pretty wrapped up. But she's a remarkable woman and a remarkable athlete. Obviously, she made the Olympics not only as a skater in 16, then she came back and made it as a cyclist, and now back as a skater. So, pretty remarkable.
Yeah, that's cool.
Awesome.
And I think more and more people should know about it and have this option for sure.
And
Yeah.
again, remember when we're sweating, the skin is more porous. We're more prone to absorb that. And that's part of why we want to get cleaned up after we sweat. And that is a great way, infrared sauna, right? These are all ways of detoxifying, getting that out. So super beneficial there.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what we say. If it's on you, it's in you. And the thing is, we had a year-long pop-up here on Abbot Kinney, and as you know, that's kind of become the Rodeo Drive West or Beach, and with the James Purse store. And women were coming in all the time from yoga lattes or bar class or Erewhon, and very, very in touch with their bodies. But we were saying she doesn't know what she doesn't know. So, ladies, don't feel bad that you don't know these brands. And I'm not anti. We're not trying to cancel the bra. It's just that it's a matter of truth, and that's why I haven't been able to. I mean, I've been at this for years. I've put millions of dollars of my own money. It hasn't been about necessarily a big return. It's been about doing what's right and telling the truth. And I think the reason my TED Talk has been picked up some steam is it's resonating. I think we're getting more focused on food. We're getting more focused on what we're putting, even the general population, not just the folks that have been shopping at Whole Foods all along anyway. So the awareness is rising, which is great.
Yeah, and that's what we're here for, is to keep that going and be a reminder, because very quickly we want to just dismiss it and go, oh man, I got too many things to think about. But this is something you have to think about now. Otherwise, it's going to become an issue. And so you have to have options. You definitely do.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything
It's amazing the amount of things that if I were 25 again, that I know now how much I would do differently, right? The things that I would not be wearing, the things that I wouldn't have been doing, and then now you got to think about that for your own children, for your daughters, Dr. V. This is something the earlier that they start making these changes, the more important it's going to impact their longevity for sure.
And in general, anything we can do to reduce load, right?
Yeah.
As Michael said, the air we breathe is toxic. The stuff we're putting on our skin in general is toxic. Foods we eat are toxic, and I mean it's a toxic world. And every little thing we can do to reduce that is going to help. I mean, I'm going to refer us back to the line that comes up. One of my favorite lines that comes up most of the time is organic is cheaper than chemo ultimately. Right. And this is, an organic bra is cheaper than chemo and mastectomies and so on. So, I mean, this is one of those things that, now you've been enlightened, listener, that this is an issue. It's an easy step to take, and it's not the kind of thing that you have to study and do every day. It's just like, hey, hit send, be done with it, and reduce that toxic load in your life.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it's sad. I see a woman doing hot yoga, and in most brands that she's likely wearing, I say to myself, she doesn't know it, but she's smoking a pack of cigarettes right now.
Ooh,
wow.
I mean, that I think is the impact that can have, particularly with that level of off gassing. And
there's another soundbite. Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yeah. When I see a woman doing hot yoga in pretty much any national brand, because they've particularly the top three. Because there's independent studies out there talking about how toxic they are. So when I see that, I say to myself, she does not know it, but she's smoking a pack of cigarettes right now every time she works out in it, because this is the most porous, vulnerable area of her feminine form. And then from there, she goes to have coffee. She goes home. It's just constant saturation, and this could be a couple of times a week. And of course, you see it. Women over 60, 1 in 8 chance of breast cancer. That's back to that slow drip, this compression of unnecessary compression of the breast over time. This nipple area is breathing in these toxins, while the very system, the lymphatic, is being crushed, disabled, impaired, over time as well.
Wow.
Yeah, great news.
Yeah. Well, so now, we want to switch to a little bit. What can you do about it, right? And this is why you created what you created,
right?
And Michael, are there stores that people can go and buy these, or is it all online, or how do we get women connected with this?
It's vibrantbodycompany.com. And if you guys like, I would be happy to pass along a code to you that you can post. Yeah, Vibrant Body, believe me, we've had it on we just did a special with our sports series. We have a legging, we have a bike short, we have a sports bra. And the women that put it on, we had all different ethnicities and body shapes, and they're all like, oh my God, it feels like a Lulu, or it feels like a Skims, or they're soft and yet sturdy, and very classic. And then we have a beautiful, all of our fabrics are German and Italian, and all of everything we do is certified with the OEKO compliance. So by wearing it, you've cut one thing off your list. You haven't sacrificed anything, because it feels as good, it performs as good, and it looks as good as anything you're going to buy out there commercially.
Love it. I love it.
And any hope for me as a cyclist to you're going to be working on some cycling gear? I know you have cycling for women there.
Yeah, do you see the bike shorts?
Yeah. So it's important, as you probably know, that Lance Armstrong, testicular cancer is a no-brainer. It's the same. The boys, as we'll call them, are supposed to be 2 degrees cooler, and when you folks are have those compression shorts on, and then you're on that bike seat for hours and grinding away, and particularly if you're doing it as a serious or professional over time, that's one of the highest incidences of sterility in a group of men are cyclists. And now hoop guys are catching up, because if you're a hoop kid, you were wearing those compression shorts, to bed, because those are what you wear under your hoops, right? And our bodies are just meant to breathe and not to be compressed, particularly over long periods of time. So
there's a reason those hang, right? The
Right.
reason those hang is to regulate temperature and thermal regulation. Let them descend when the body's hot, to cool off a little better, right? And then tighten up, like when we get into the ocean, to warm them up, right? And so
exactly,
yeah, smashing them and heating them is not such a great idea.
Well, what I love about your company, Michael, is it gives people a new place to start, right? It gives them a whole new thing and a new direction, and a new way to kind of take some weight off their brain, for sure. Because as you guys are saying, I heard somebody say the other day, there are no free lunches in biology, right? And it sounds to me like we're constantly going back to, how do we, get around what we've been trying to get a free lunch for? And now we need to figure out how to pay for that, right? And this is a different way to do it.
Yeah, science doesn't lie, and it's right there. So, and we're very fortunate. Women love our stuff. Our rebuy rates are extraordinary, and we've been blessed by, again, the breast cancer prevention partners, Komen, a lot of top authorities that have gone on the line to look at what we're doing and why we're doing it, and saying, yeah, this is the way to go. And we're really a health company platform. We're migrating to vibrant healthware. When you wear wellness, you wear us. So the whole notion now is wearing wellness. We're in a functional health world. We've got our cachavas, our seeds. This is just another piece of that. It's a way to know that you're doing the best thing for yourself and your own longevity and your own health. And as the doctor said, it beats chemo, right?
Definitely. Yes.
Yes.
And it is competitive too, right? This isn't like a luxury item that people are. This is something, if women are wearing it, it's going to be right in the same category. So it's not like it's causing you any kind of stress or strain to do it as well.
No,
that change.
And we're not like the Medi bra or anything else. We look and lead with fashion and comfort, and it's all about fashion and comfort and its ability to perform. Because that's what she cares about most, frankly. Okay, so we check the boxes.
Yeah. Yes, I love it. I see the sun is rising on you there, Michael.
I know. I got the halo going.
Right? And I hope that's a metaphor for what's happening with Vibrant.
My my hope painting above there. I got I'm in the room of fractured souls. I've got some John Lennons over there.
Oh, wow.
I've got a Muhammad Ali. A lot of people that wanted everybody to just be,
Well,
be
we
a
missed a
better
little bit of
world.
that wisdom you dropped on
Imagine,
us there.
right?
But
So there we go.
Dr. V, do you have any last questions for Michael?
Okay. Yeah, I'm
You you kind of covered it, but so wires limit lymphatic drainage, correct? I mean, that was part of the opening. Do you want to just kind of confirm or talk about the mechanical aspect there a little bit
sure.
for gals?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, that again, that breast tissue comes around the side of the torso, and the fact of the matter is that the wire is typically in a U-shaped cup. And so that the U shape is there by design to take the side of the breast and to project it up and forward. And so, that gives that perky breast in the t-shirt bra, something like that. We actually achieve that without it. We have a utility patent, not just a design patent, utility patent written by Dr. Rashida Karmali. Dr. Rashida was one of the top PhD of molecular biology at Sloan Kettering. And she's also a lawyer and an MBA, so she knows the electrical body and what we're able to do. We do we do more of a C-shaped cup with a boning inside, and then we have a dropout around the nipple that gives an engineering effect that actually lets the cup give support and cradle the breast versus just strapping it against the chest wall. And so we can achieve the same thing, and that's Dustin. That's Heidi Lehmann of Germany, one of the top technical designers. We developed all of this over in Europe and in Germany, and it took us 5 years of R&D.
Wow.
So one of the current typical things I'm looking for when there's breast cancer risk is is aluminum. So deodorant, that's part of what why when you go to traditional store looking for antiperspirant, or any deodorant for, women specific, is going to have aluminum in it. Aluminum blocks perspiration. Most of those lymph nodes Michael was just talking about are all along the outside of the chest wall there. That's where they're going to be scanning, looking for sentinel lymph nodes or where the cancer is. And so if we have aluminum, that's going to block that lymphatic drainage. In other words, using deodorant or antiperspirant with aluminum in it every day, you're going to be blocking that. And then you put the wire under there that probably has some aluminum in it as well. And that blocks that lymphatic drainage. So that's really a recipe for disaster. So there's another to-do for us, I guess, as Dustin called me out for being the to-do, what the to-do guy.
Well,
I guess that's a good problem.
I'm going to see that and raise you. It's after they shave, because then they've opened up even more exposure. So after shaving them, you have to be very careful about what you're putting on there immediately for that reason. That will increase what you're getting into the body. For sure.
You got to be careful. Yeah. It's and fortunately, we'd be blessed to have you, stop by. I'm going to drop you guys the code that you can put into the
put in the description. Yeah.
Okay. And anybody that has any questions, you can reach out. I'm very very available. Our team is as well. We love thoughts, questions, and try it. We also have a try it at home for free or try it at home for 60 days. You can wash it and wear it. Our return rate is very low. Our exchange rate is up there because you have to exchange to find the right size. Bras are very hard to size, but it's free returns and exchanges. So we will get you into the right fit, and you will love it.
Nice. I can't wait for you to fit me for my nads.
There you go.
On stage.
Which is next. Yeah.
Well, that Raquel.
Oh man, we're losing his sound a little bit. I know he's got great things to say. But I will say this may have sounded like a commercial for you, but we're not sponsored by you at all. This is the beautiful thing. When we find something that we know everybody should hear about, this is what we're doing, right? And exactly. So, and you've poured so much of your heart into this and your soul to be able to make this as an option. I'm really happy that you've been able to take the time to be with us today to kind of articulate why we need to bring this to the top of our brains. We hear Dr. V and I attend a lot of education on cancer prevention. but this is not something that's talked about in any of the education pieces that we do, unless it's him or me who are talking about it. And so thank you so much, Michael. If there anything else lasting, I know you're going to give us a code, but any last thoughts? Do you need to update how many times you've been arrested, or is there anything else you want to tell us here before we're done?
Yeah. Have a good lawyer. When you have 18 arrests and no convictions, it's good lawyering. No, that, like I said, that was it's a spiritual comedy coming soon, hopefully to Netflix. But yeah, I just, you have to follow your heart, and some truths are just undeniable. And to get where we've come, I've had to kiss a lot of frogs. I have made out with frogs. Okay, and the education's been good. The tuition's been a little high, but it's really worth it because it's a sea change. It is criminal what our government, and that's both sides of the aisle, by the way. These chemical lobby groups kind of own them all, and because it's just criminal that Europe can ban over 2,500 chemicals, and we've banned. Well, a while ago we were at 23. Now we're at 15. Okay, so our government's unwinding instead of trying to protect us, and so it's criminal. But with education comes awareness, and with awareness comes health.
Right.
So I thank you guys.
Yeah, well, and please, for those of you listening who've heard about this, please share this video with as many people as possible, and share Michael's TED Talk, right? He's gaining fire on that, and it's because the content is what needs to be shared. So please do share, leave us a comment, leave us some questions so we can make sure that we're sharing this with everybody. So like you said, they're not unwittingly smoking a pack of cigarettes every day and then wondering what happened in 30 years.
Exactly. Okay, gents. Well, thank you very much. Have a great week.
All right.
Let's end with education comes awareness. With awareness comes health.
There it is.
There's our close, right? Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.